DRG Cosmides, and Mark. Hello, hello. So, hey, Laura. So Kat and I are talking about productivity and social media. So productivity as it relates to being a small business owner and just trying to make it happen and do your own thing. And social media as it relates to that, because that's an essential part of being a business owner now. And when you're doing it on your own, sometimes it's hard to figure it out. So we meet here every week and we talk about what's working for us, tips and tricks and ideas and resources, and we just talk a lot.
Yeah, and we just try and help. We just try and share our own kind of experience. And if MD's brave enough to jump in the hot seat and ask us a question, get your face seen, you're more than welcome. I know there was somebody here last time. I can't see whether you're on yet or not, but there was a girl who wanted to get on last time who didn't. So if she appears, we'll get her to ask a question. So all good.
Laura, did you want to jump in and ask us a question? I'd love to hear about your business, if you have a business, and maybe some ways that we can help or give you some advice.
Yep, anything at all, Laura.
Don't be camera shy. Don't be camera shy. I've totally gotten over I need to do my hair and I need to whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I know I'm being lit beautifully by the daylight from the right-hand side. You know, it's all set up. You know, the only problem I've got actually at the moment is there's a cat in here. My cat is kicking about. Normally I put it out. So apologies if you suddenly hear weird noises. It's not me.
Right.
Cat by name, but not making silly noises.
So we just moved, and my office space, I am now facing a bay window. And I can't even tell you how lovely it is to have the natural light and to look out into my greenery in the backyard. And it does so much for productivity.
No, I was going to say, is it not distracting you looking out the window, Cara?
Every once in a while I get distracted by a squirrel, whatever. But really, I find it just... I don't know. It's like invigorating.
Yeah, keeps you going.
Yeah, when you're staring at a wall, it just, yeah.
Yeah, well, I've got a wall in front of me with all my, you can't see it, thankfully, it doesn't look too messy, but all of my brain dumps is the only way I can describe it, really.
Brain dumps, yeah.
Like static whiteboard sheets, have you ever used them? Static whiteboard sheets? Fantastic. So they are behind this lovely monitor. And you can see the window in the background. So I'm facing the wall. I'm supposed to be concentrating.
Well, the issue that I'm dealing with right now is I used to be kind of in a corner in my office, and I had my shelves up with all my stuff and whatever. And now I can't have that because I'm in front of a window. So I don't know where to put all my stuff. So moving is hard. Talk about throwing off your routine and your productivity, and
Yeah, I mean, moving's hard. Just even if you've got like a regular job, but if you're moving and you're running your own business as well, that is just chaotic. It's a recipe for madness.
Well, and we kind of got into last week.
Yeah.
We talked about how I use all of these social media tools to help me schedule and keep on top of my content being consistent, and how I was totally overzealous with thinking how quickly I'd be back in the saddle as far as ready to work again with moving. And I was not, and it was really, really a struggle. And I learned a lot just from that experience and dropping the ball, quite frankly, and not, having my regular postings up and all that kind of stuff. So, and I'm still kind of trying to, I'm making it happen. I am taking care of my clients. I am doing the bare minimum that I need to do for my business, but I'm still trying to catch up.
Yeah.
And Kat, I was reading your beta course this morning.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Finally got around to that.
That's all right.
My apologies.
No, don't.
And so I just finished the first section and was reading about the mindfulness aspect of it. And I went, oh my gosh, how much that would help me right now just to stay on track.
Yeah. It's so straightforward as well. It's not, I think people always think about mindfulness as quite a woo-woo thing, or, you know, we all have to sit with incense sticks burning or get into the lotus position. There is no way I would be able to get into the lotus position. You know, it would just hurt me. So you don't need to do all that. It's just that kind of breathing and focus and just setting the intention in your mind. So interesting that you've went through just the first wee bit of it, Cara. Did you find that from an entrepreneurial point of view that it helps a bit, or does it, you're not quite there with it yet? Or
it was funny. You and I are so much alike for various reasons. Not the least of which is both of our previous careers lend to a certain affect. It lends to a certain this is the way it is. And what I noticed, because all my years of report writing is just the facts, ma'am, and no fluffy stuff. So what I noticed is that it's something that I struggle with, and you're better at it than I am, but it's still not quite there as far as putting yourself in the reader's shoes. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So the key pieces that resonated with me was when you said something that I was like, oh yeah, I totally do
that. Yeah.
And I need to do more of that as well with my marketing and my,
To be honest, it was kind of, I think it was 2 blabs ago, we spoke about that, about just stepping into your voice and being authentically you. And I think that's what it is for me. I'm just kind of, the way I describe things and the way I write now, I've just decided to do it the way I talk.
Right.
And some people resonate with it, some people don't.
Right.
But yeah, exactly that. It's just experience, and it's saying, this is what I've been through. This is why I can teach other people to do it. Yes, there's a whole load of, going and doing courses and stuff behind that as well. But yeah, you just want to share your experiences.
Well, and what's funny is, and anybody that is in marketing or anything, please feel free to jump in here, because now it's like we're kind of talking about brand voice and all of that, which is really, it really is part of running your business, and part of social media is your brand voice. So I find that my blogs are totally 100% my voice. You can hear my personality, the jargon that I use, all of those things. I have no problem being just me on my blogs. But then when it comes to courses, something I'm trying to sell or market, whether it's free or local, whatever it is, I slip into that. Here's all the benefits. Here's what it'll do for you. Instead of putting myself in the person's shoes in the way that they talk.
Yeah, totally. And I struggled with that as well. And again, I think it goes hand in hand with the type of jobs that we used to do and the way that we probably had to report on things. Probably people, sorry, we're being probably a bit vague, but quite interesting backgrounds. But that's maybe, I don't know, for another time. But yeah, I started using a tool called Scrivener. So Scrivener is just like a...
Spell that for me.
Let me see if I can... I think it's Scrivener. Scrivener, I'm sure. So I didn't pay that much for it. It might have been about $20 odd. I got it through the guys at AppSumo.
Sumo. Yeah.
And it's really for writers. It's really for people who are writing books or trying to get their ideas down. But I found it really helpful from a course writing point of view. So it means you can almost like kind of map it out on what looks like a wee cork board, and then within that have all your videos and content and everything else. But what's really good from that kind of productivity point of view and getting your brand voice out there and all kind of like social media is it just allows you to brain dump and get stuff onto the page. And then you can go back in. And so if you're the kind of, here's the benefits, here's the step-by-step, you can get all that down and then go back in and add the kind of chat, if you like, on top of it. And then you can just literally, what I've done is turned it into text files that I can then use on like, like, oh God, what do you call them? The thing that when you're recording yourself on camera, it just runs like an auto feed. And also you can turn it into your PDFs and your Word documents. So it's really helpful from that point of view. I use it from a productivity point of view, and it keeps me on track, and it gives me a really good visual.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. But yeah, just to get back to that main point, you can add in then your voice later, because you've got all your structure. Your structures there, your frameworks there, and then you can go in and add your personality on top of it, if that makes sense.
So I have talked to me about, because I'm interested, I have my own opinions, but I'm interested in your opinion. Writing things down versus using an app or a computer. And I say this because yesterday I had kind of a totally thrown off day. Something in personal life with property management and whatever, like totally threw me off. I was totally pissed.
Yeah.
Just like, it was starting to ruin my day. And it was one of those where you just start seething and you're just like, I just don't even know what to do with myself right now, because I want to punch a hole in the wall. Like, I just can't even. And what it started doing was then I started getting down on myself about all of these loose threads with my business that I have going on right now, partly because my business is still developing and partly because of the move and being out of my routine and all of that kind of stuff. So I literally sat down and started literally brain dumping, like a separate sheet for every topic, every thread, every, like, what do I need to, whatever. And I find all the apps and all of the websites and different tools and whatever, they're fantastic for certain things. But for me, nothing beats pen to paper.
Yeah.
How does that work for you? What do you think?
I'm going to show you this. It's back to front, but I'll show you.
Yes.
So this is what's up behind my wall, and it's like exactly that. It's like a big old kind of brain dump of everything. Yep. So I can use the same techniques, Cara. Yeah. First, when I'm in the early stages of something, I use lots of that whiteboard stuff all around the room.
Right.
Or pen and paper. But then when I start to get into the actual detail and writing of it, I find that something like Scrivener helps me an awful lot, just to start to see the framework coming together, and then it's easier for me to lift. It's that time saving thing. I've written it, I don't want to write it again, so I get it out of that whiteboard.
That makes sense.
Into some form of digital content, and then I can start to repurpose it into blogs or PDFs or anything. So I always start with the pen and paper stuff, and then I'm across when I've kind of got my brain sorted and I know where I'm focused.
That I would agree with you. I think that makes a lot of sense, because writing it is kind of that first step. It kind of gets you over that hump of like, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I know I need to do this. I need to, whatever. And then you can make it more structured and more. Yeah. That makes sense.
I think as well that the pen and paper stuff, obviously it's different for everybody, but I find the pen and paper stuff, exactly as you say, if you're procrastinating in any way, or you're doing that, I'd rather go and hang the washing out than kind of get started on something. Just get the pen and paper and just write anything, whatever it is, just start to write, and don't edit yourself. Don't sit and think about it. If you choose the keyboard, same thing. Don't edit it. Just bash away, do it later.
Yeah, the one app that I have found to be super, super useful for those things that like pop into my head and then they're gone is Evernote, because my phone is surgically attached to my hand. And I will get blog ideas that will just kind of flit in and then flit out. And it's like constantly. So I have an Evernote note that is just blog ideas, and I'll just go in there and and the cool thing is, obviously, because it's an app, I can access it from my desktop, from my phone, from my, whatever. So I find the paper brain dump to be the most useful when it comes to how I need to plan out something that I want to start working on, as far as that initial Like, here's all the little pieces. Here's all the, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think it's easier to do it that way. And again, everybody will have their own preference. But I made a fatal mistake the other day where I had a brilliant idea. Light bulb moment.
Yeah.
Did I write it down? No. Can I remember it? No.
Yeah.
It's gone. It's totally gone. And the thing is, what's really annoying is that's exactly what I tell other people to do. It's like, write it down. Get a note in your phone. You won't remember it. And of course, I sat there the other night and I thought, of course I'm going to remember this.
Of course, it's so brilliant. There's no way that I could not.
And I find, it's the only kind of time I would draw a comparison between myself and Einstein. He always said that you can't hold anything in his head, like nonsense, because it pushes the good stuff out. And that is what happened to me the other night. Thought if that goes in, it's going to push some of the good stuff out already. Should have written it down. So yeah, I'm either going to start just
so frustrating. And I actually, and people joke, there's good things and bad things about being so attached to our phones, of course. But I have it next to my bed because I use it as an alarm and whatever. But literally it's right there because I have those moments of I'm halfway asleep and I have that flash of like, oh, I really need to do this. And literally I jump on, 2:00 in the morning, I'm on my phone on Evernote, just writing a note and whatever. Yeah. And I don't have to worry about pen to paper or finding something, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So. But this is how sad my life got. It was a few years ago now. I had extensive surgery on my shoulder, my collarbone. So I was out of action for a wee bit. And I couldn't really sleep very well. I was in quite a lot of pain.
Yeah.
Insomnia, whatever. So, of course, people were like, oh, that's terrible. You're up in the middle of the night. I'm like, no, I got some work done.
Right, exactly. It's like, no, this is working time.
It's like, I've got the laptop out. I've got some great ideas because you're just kind of that, as you say, when you're dripping in and out of tiredness and whatever, sometimes that's when you get the best flashes of inspiration.
It's like your mind isn't working so hard to be, it's not working hard to be productive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because during the day, you're like, I got to get it done, got to get through my list, got to make things happen, got to, whatever. And you get so wrapped up in like just trying to make it all happen. But when you're in that space of like, I've shut down for the night and I'm kind of half watching Netflix or I'm kind of half, doing whatever. And you don't feel like you're working or you have to be on point. That's when your mind kind of releases that space to like work on problems and just kind of mull over. And that's usually when I do my best. So for anybody that doesn't know, I use Buffer extensively, religiously, love it. Because I do social media for myself and I do it for clients. So it's extremely useful to be able to schedule things and just know that things are being posted correctly and all of that. And I do my best buffering in the evening when I'm scrolling through my Feedly on my phone, looking at articles, because I almost kind of feel like looking through articles during the day when I'm working is it's not wasting time. I know it's not wasting time, but it's not money-making time.
Yeah.
Right?
It's been that quite prescriptive about when you do that task. We've said that before. You could just go down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Social media and it's lovely. It's a nice way to spend your time and reading things and learning things and who's doing whatever. But actually, if you're trying to run your business, then you need to be really quite disciplined about that time in your diary to do that. And if that's your time at night where it's that you're a wee bit more switched down, whatever, and you can kind of
I can actually read articles instead of scanning them quickly and moving on to you know what I mean? Like,
oh, well, 2 things you would love then, because I love reading and I've really missed out on reading because you're doing this stuff. Nugget and Blinkist.
Really?
So yeah, these are fantastic resources. What they do is they take books and they condense it down into basically like a 10-minute read. 10-minute read of the summary of the main points, So it means that you can quickly catch up on books that look really good that, you know, everybody else is talking about and you haven't had the time to read it cover to cover. But Nugget and Blinkist, I think Blinkist has got a paid option, Nugget's free. Blinkist is free for so far, but both of those resources are great for not missing out on books that you really want to catch up on.
Nice.
Really good.
Yeah, going back to the rabbit hole thing, that is one of the things that I really, you know, a lot of times that's why people hire me, because they're small business owners and they're not doing social media like I do. I mean, that's my business, but they have to do it for their business and they don't have time to get sucked into the rabbit hole. They don't have time to figure out a platform or, you know, whatever it is. And it's so easy for a business owner to, okay, I need to figure out Facebook ads. And so they start reading articles or looking into, you know, the Power Editor, all that kind of stuff. And before you know it, the day's gone and they still don't feel like they really have a handle on what they're supposed to be doing.
Totally.
So scheduling time for all those little different things. And I find I've got to schedule time where I'm highly productive and schedule time that I'm like kind of checked out. You know, yeah.
So, well, actually, it's really interesting. I was doing some profiling the other day. That's what I do kind of primarily as a main part of my business is profile solopreneurs and entrepreneurs so that they can work out where they should be focusing their time more effectively. And one of the key things about it is there's 4 energies. Sounds a wee bit, again, woo-woo, but it's quite scientific that there's 4 energies. And I actually now plan my daily week, my day and my week and my month based on my energies. And what I mean by that is willpower is rubbish, right? So here's the point. Willpower runs out in about 20 minutes every day. Yeah. That's how much power you have. So if you're sitting down there to think, I am going to do this and I'm going to get it done, you get about 20 minutes and forget it after that. So you need to plan a little better than that. And what I do is my profile is what's called steel energy. So it's more that research thing, that detail thing, not so good at kind of going out and doing all that networking and stuff. So what you need to do is plan. You're always going to have high energy in your profile. So you're probably quite similar to me, Cara, in terms of that research and detail.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be good at that. You're always going to be on for that. But you're not always going to be on for the out and networking stuff. So what you do is you plan to do the networking stuff when you're going to have a bit more willpower and a bit more high energy.
Yep.
Because when you do the stuff you love, you're going to do it anyway. So it's finding those bits in your week and in your calendar and scheduling meetings when you know that you're going to feel at your best.
Yeah. And
then do it that way. So it's a just different way of doing it, but it works really well looking at.
Yeah, I am very clear. And I'm interested actually to know more about that from you because I've never heard it talked about in those terms or that method.
Yeah.
But I know that I am somebody, I'm really great one-on-one. Like, even though we're doing this, I feel like you and I are talking one-on-one, even though it's public and it's recorded and whatever. I have a lot more energy doing that. So this doesn't really take a lot out of me. But after this, I have a networking lunch to go to that is going to be a lot of people. And while I'll enjoy it and it's essential for my business and it is something that's really great for me to do, I know when I'm done and I come home, I'm going to need an hour.
Yeah, definitely. To recharge.
To recharge and like regroup. And, you know, there's no point in me scheduling, oh, I'm going to sit down and write my blog or, oh, I'm going to, you know, whatever. Like, no, I'm probably going to sit on the couch on my phone looking through my Feedly for good content and educating myself.
Yeah. I think that's the key about it. It's recognizing it. So it sounds really common sense, but if you don't recognize it and you don't think, actually, that's a better use of my time is doing the Feedly thing because it needs to get done anyway, but you're slightly more relaxed, you're always going to be happy doing it. But as you say, if you're then going to schedule back-to-back things that are really tough and are going to drain you, you're going to hate your job. And let's face it, you're going to hate your employer and that's you.
Yeah, right.
Because I, as employing myself, when I started out, I used to always say to people, oh, my boss is an absolute bitch because she keeps like she won't let me go for lunch.
Right.
And like at toilet breaks,
do
kind of
anything.
Exactly. So it's kind of getting out of that cycle. Don't be an employee anymore, especially for those people who are thinking about either starting out in business or still in a kind of cubicle corporate job or whatever. You need to be thinking about that. An employee mindset and an employer mindset is a completely different thing.
Totally.
And even if you're only working for yourself, you're still employing yourself. So you kind of need to balance your energies. And I think that's a really good point about the networking thing. Yeah, don't beat yourself up about not coming back in and writing the most fantastic blog in the world after doing all that. Just get your stuff done. I know it cannot.
I know, right? I'm like, I just want to be on the couch in a blanket, scrolling through my articles that I want to read because they're interesting to me, and I just need an hour to just. So, here's a question for you, because you're the productivity expert. I find that I get knocked out of my routine pretty easily. And I'll give you an example of what's going on right now. It used to be that my daughter went to bed pretty easily. She was in bed by, 6:30, 7 o'clock. And I found that from like 7 to 9 was really great productive time for me. Kind of end of the day, wrapping up the day, planning for the next day, kind of that looser headspace time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, since we've moved, bedtime is not easy. There's a lot of like adjustment for our family and everything going on. And that 7 to 9 time, I am exhausted.
Yeah.
I don't want to do anything else, even if it's just scrolling through and reading articles that on social media and what's the latest and greatest and whatever. So what I'm finding in the last week and a half or so, 2 weeks, is that time that I would normally reserve for those things that do need to get done. It's not happening. And I am having trouble figuring out how to adjust. So for people that are listening or people that want to know, life happens. It happens to everyone. Things change, schedules change. What is the best way to reassess and get back on track with productivity?
Yeah, so the best thing is, first of all, like, don't beat yourself up that your schedule has changed. I think if you're a detail person and dare I say a bit of a control freak, Cara.
What?
I say that with love. But yeah, so what we do is a lot of people who run their own business, they're used to that routine, and if it doesn't fit in that routine, then it's like stress.
What do I do?
And you're creating your own stress. So number one is stop beating yourself up about it. If you've got, especially if you've got wee kids and those bedtime routines are all over the place, there's not really much you can do about it. So there is no point in beating yourself up about it. I think probably what you've got to do is if it's upsetting so that 7 to 9 period where you would normally have done whatever it was for the next day, you need to bring it forward a wee bit. So if you know that 7 to 9 is just going to be chaotic in the household, what you need to be doing is round about the 5 o'clock mark, even if you're not kind of ready to finish up yet,
right?
Start writing down, get the stuff out of the brain. Like, as you said, concentrate on that being the kind of looser part of your day and thinking, right, what is it I need to get done tomorrow? What am I not going to get finished today? And then you're kind of set up for tomorrow morning, because the good thing is as well, if you're having restless nights, especially if you've got family and, small children getting up, then at least you know where you're going to start the next day when you're still knackered. Let's face it, if you're up and down 3 times a night, or not getting as much sleep as what you normally would have, then at least your plan for the day is written down already. So I think that's it. It's about trusting yourself, not feeling guilty, and then just finding a different way. I mean, making a plan for the next day isn't about writing 10 things down. It's about writing 3 things down.
Right.
No more than 3.
Yeah.
They can be quite big things and they can encompass a lot of stuff in there. But 3 main things, and then that gets you started for the next morning.
Right.
And probably back a wee bit to what I was speaking about a wee bit earlier about energies.
Right.
When your energies the lowest, which is maybe that kind of first thing when you're tired, you maybe need to rejig that a wee bit. So it's thinking of when do I really love doing what is it that makes my heart sing? If it's the detailed research stuff, then I'm going to feel good doing that anyway. When is the stuff that I hate doing? Maybe I shouldn't schedule that first thing in the morning because I've had a sleepless night or I've not got done the night before. So I think it's just having a wee bit of flexibility. I know that's really hard when you're used to a routine, and that routine's kind of turned on its head.
I feel like you finally got it figured out, and you're like, yes, I'm firing on all cylinders. I know exactly what works for me, and then
not happening. Yeah, it's like life gets in the way. It's really annoying.
Yeah, it's really annoying. And you know, it's not all her fault, but moving is hard, and having a toddler is hard because they, you know.
Yeah, totally. So no, I think you've just got to cut yourself some slack.
Yeah. You know? I have a hard time doing that.
Yeah. Listen, I've been there, and probably that's why I wrote the mindfulness for entrepreneurs thing that you were talking about, because mindfulness basically saved my bacon.
Yeah.
I was on the road to crazy land. I mean, I might still be there a wee bit, to be fair. Admittedly, folks, my name is Kat. I'm on the road to crazy land.
Right.
But yeah, you have to slow down. And I don't mean slow down as in take your foot off the gas in terms of not getting done what you need to get done. But, you know, the thing that I teach about mindfulness is 2 minutes out of your day. 2 minutes to sit and do nothing apart from focus on your breathing and set the intention. Because if you don't do that, what happens is you do, oh my God, I'm never going to get all this finished. I'm optimizing it. And guess what happens? Self-fulfilling prophecy. So what you really want to be doing is going, yeah, I've got a really busy day. It's going to be a bit tough, but actually, do you know what? I'm going to get it done.
It's fine. Yep.
Changes it. And then your mind kind of goes along with what you tell it. If you tell it bad things, it'll do that. If you tell it good things, then
true. It's very true.
We are what we think. So it's that self-fulfilling prophecy thing that you need to get right. Cut yourself some slack and tell yourself, actually, I might be a bit tired and I've got a lot to do, but I'll get a chunk of it done.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is also giving yourself permission to not always get everything done.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a hard one for me. And it's a hard one because I do my own social media. I do client social media. I'm working on my own coaching and mini courses and all that kind of stuff. And there are just not enough hours in the day.
Yeah.
Aren't. You know, and I'm a full-time mom and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I can't work 9 to 5. I work from 9 to 4. And then from 4 to 7 is family time, dinner time, bath time, bedtime, you know, whatever. And then I get back to whatever I have the energy to do for the rest of the day. And it never all gets done. And giving myself the permission to, okay, I understand that didn't get done. Is that going to be the top priority for tomorrow? Or is there something else that's the top priority for tomorrow?
Yeah, and that's absolutely key to it, because especially when you are working on your own, that solopreneur thing, there is nobody else.
Yeah.
I'm personally investing in cloning. But it's not happened yet. We've only had Dolly the sheep. So, you know, there is hope.
Here's the thing. I don't want to clone because I have things that I fail at. I want a clone that is good at everything that I'm not good at. How about that? Yeah.
But failing is learning, Cara. It's not a bad thing. It's not.
You say that.
I know. I hate it myself.
I hear it.
It's only words, to be fair. Again, it's I tell my brain, you know, so that it kind of catches up. But listen, does anybody, there's a whole lot of people here joined. Does anybody want to jump in and ask a question? I will unlock the seat for you if anybody would like to ask a question. Sarah, Darren, Happy. Great name, I like that. And Kendra.
Happy Sandman, that's great. So I guess, we're just literally blabbing away. But a little bit about us. Kat does productivity for solopreneur and small businesses, coaching as far as what do you need to be doing? How do you figure it out? The whole small business solopreneur game. And she's your advocate and can totally get you on the right track. And I am a social media strategist. So I am also a solopreneur, but I help small businesses figure out what they need to be doing on social media so they can be effective, so they don't waste their time, and so they do it the right way. Because social media is essential, but it can be so frustrating and confusing for small business owners to figure out what to do. So I am going to type my website in the chat here. Kat, you should do the same.
Pitch-tastic. We're allowed. We host them.
Yes. This is Kat Harris show. So
yeah, there we go. Straight tongue ginger people. It is what it says on the tin. It's that Scottish thing. So yeah, apologies if you can't. If I speak too fast. If I'm speaking too fast, please tell me, because I know that.
I just kind of ramble as I'm looking out my window and at the squirrel and whatever. Kendra, yeah, managing time. So can you tell us a little bit more about what in time management is difficult for you? Do you have a small business? If you don't want to be on video, you can type, but we'd love for you to jump in a seat.
Yeah, jump in.
There's so many different aspects to time management. And it is definitely not a one size fits all. You know, everybody's different as far as how they work. Kat was talking earlier about different energies and different, you know, figuring out the most effective time to schedule what based on how you feel throughout the day. Yeah. Working from home. Yeah. So if you can't tell, we both work from home.
Yep. Would you like my Formula One chair that
I got? And it's really hard. It is really hard to be disciplined enough to work from home because there's so many distractions. I've said this several times today and last week. Just moved, and there are moving boxes. There's boxes all over my house. Literally the other day, I took my laptop and I went to Starbucks because I knew if I was home, I would just want to continue unpacking and organizing and cleaning and all that kind of stuff. And I knew I'd be distracted. And I knew there were things that I had to get done for clients. And I just had to whatever. So a lot of problems can be solved with a good chair. That's very, very true. Okay.
That's a great chair. It's a great chair. Look, I'm a bit of a Formula One freak. Apologies.
Nice. So how do you manage not wasting time scrolling through Facebook? You get so distracted and scroll through your newsfeed for an hour. So yes, a lot of businesses have trouble doing that. Can you tell me, are you on Facebook for your business? Do you have a Facebook page that you manage for your business, or are you just on it for personal reasons? Because that will define how I answer you. Basically, you're a social media strategist. Hello. So yeah, how do you, because I'm on Facebook all day because I am using it for my clients. I'm scheduling posts and whatever. Basically, to not get sucked in and to use your time effectively, you have to be purposeful. You have to have written out and decided what you need to do. Like, I will know, okay, I'm getting on Facebook to schedule posts for me, for these 3 clients. And the biggest thing that's helped me, and believe me, I'm not perfect. There are times when I get sucked in and I'm like, oh, I have been on here for an hour and I haven't done anything. Closing the tab, not having it up when I am not actively using it for a purpose. That alone has saved me so much sucked into the black hole of Facebook time. So I will schedule out time. I have scheduled time that I know I'm going to be posting for clients or doing research or, whatever it is. I know that that's the time that I have. I have it scheduled. I'm on there for a reason. And when I'm done, I close Facebook. I close it. And if I get notifications that pop up on my phone, I ignore it until it's my designated Facebook time. So does that answer your question? I hope it's staying focused, giving myself a time limit. Yes, exactly. Time limits. And it's really, really hard because I do social media for a living. So not getting sucked in. It's not like I can say, well, I don't need to be on social media today, so I'm not going to get sucked in. It's what I do for a business. So it's probably doubly hard for me to not get sucked in. So it is literally not having tabs open for social media platforms that I'm not using for a purpose, whether it's my business or clients at the time. And there are times that I do enjoy scrolling through my news feed because I want to see what my friends are up to. I want to see what the groups that I'm in are up to or whatever. And that time has to be scheduled too. It has to be, you know what, I've got 10 minutes until my next meeting. I'm going to check in on my groups real quick and see what's going on, whatever. The other biggest time suck for me, because I do belong to several great Facebook groups where we share, right? We share each other's blogs every week. Like once a week is share and care, and you have to share other people's blogs. That's good for two reasons. One, you're building your community, you're being part of your community, and you're supporting each other. But two, it gives me really great content to put out as a social media strategist. So it's doubly useful for me. However, when you start going through and you start reading people's blogs, it's really easy to get off in la la land, totally distracted. And you just have to know, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I am on this group. I am going through this post, this thread of everybody's articles, and that's what I'm doing for the next 30 minutes. I am not looking on Twitter. I am not, doing this and that and whatever. So you kind of have to find your own workflow, and there is definitely something to, you've got to have some level of self-discipline. It's not, there's no magic. Like if you do this, you really got to work on it. But closing out tabs that you're not using for a purpose and scheduling time for whatever it is you're doing on those platforms.
And as I always say, there is no such thing as time management. There's only people management.
True. I love that. There's no time management. There's only people management.
Yeah, you can only manage yourself. So, you can use, we talked earlier, you can use apps, you can write stuff down, but the bottom line is you need to find some way to discipline yourself. Somebody had mentioned in the chats earlier on, I think they've left, about the Pomodoro technique. It's a really simple technique. It was called that because it was a tomato alarm, like a cooker alarm, and they would just set it for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. You do that task, and when that alarm goes off, you move on, you do something else. And that's a really effective way for some people to build the habit. So it might not suit everybody, but if you're certainly trying to work out, you're absolutely right. There is a Pomodoro app. It's really good at keeping you on track. There's always an app. But it's really good. I think if you can get into that discipline of, this is the only time that I've got scheduled, you can come back to something later on. Obviously, if you're in a deadline, then that's maybe a different thing. But for tasks like just that you were talking about, doing that kind of cross-pollination of blogs and promoting those blogs, this is what I'm doing. I'm not doing anything else. And you stick to that kind of religiously. And it's the best use of your time. Go and have a break after it, for 10 minutes or whatever, but don't be doing it for 2 hours. And I think it must be really difficult for you, Cara, because if social media is your thing and that's your business, it must be so tempting.
It's like a whole nother layer of time suck. It's like, it's not just like I have a small business, I have to do social media. I'm trying not to get sucked in. Social media is my business. So it's like a whole nother, which, it's cool. I love social media. I love what it does for people and communities and whatever. There's, of course, pros and cons to it, as we're all well aware at this point. But I think social media can be so empowering for people. And so community building for people. So I'm passionate about it because I love it. But I wanted to address, Tracy Lee, your question about how do you find those willing to cross promote? You need to find a Facebook group that speaks to you and your business and is a tribe of people that you love and get along with.
What do you do, Tracy? I'm just looking at your bio here, trainer, manager, coach. Website, so small business, same kind of stuff. So you need to be finding those like-minded people, to exactly as Cara says, to share really with, who are willing to do that.
And I will tell you, it's really interesting. I've had this conversation a couple times in the last few days because, clients, they want to talk to me about what I do, and they want me to tell them, how do they market? How do they sell on social media? And I go, wait. Totally wrong attitude to have. It's not it can be used for marketing, but social media is social. It's about engagement. It's about building your brand affinity.
Yeah.
People identifying with you, the story behind your business, and building relationships. And eventually sales and business relationships come out of that. I obviously am on social media as my business and promoting my business and what I do and whatever. The business relationships that I have built because of what I do on social media far exceed any number of sales that I've done on social media. But the relationships that I've built that have led to like another layer of sales and everything that's going on, that's what it's about, if that makes sense. That was kind of a meandering way.
No, that's absolutely right.
So like Kat and I met in a group that we're both in. We started talking because we kind of knew we were hitting it off. We found out we have very similar backgrounds, very similar personalities, totally across the pond in very different time zones. But we make it work and we get along really well. And our businesses have a lot of complementary layers, which is why we're doing this every week. And so what we've been able to do by building a relationship and engaging with each other is phenomenal, and it's exponential, and it is almost immeasurable in what it can do for your business. So you need to think of social media as building brand affinity and building trust and a love for you and your business with your audience. It's not buy my shit now.
Nobody will do that if they don't know you. It's like, I have a website, I have Twitter feed, and I have built it, and they will come. No, they won't. And it's true. People will buy from you time and time again if they've got to know you and you're their type of person. If you're not their type of person, they're never going to buy from you. I mean, I'm just going to hold my hands up here and be quite controversial yet again. I hate Apple. I will never buy an Apple product. Really?
This is why I love you, Kat. I had a really bad experience with them several years ago, and I will never, ever give them a dime of my money.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? If that's the thing that you use, brilliant, more power to you. It's just not my thing. So it's that trust thing again, probably like you, Cara. I don't have that trust with that particular company. So I will never buy from them. Whereas I am a total Android, everything else apart from, and it works really well. I think this is what the thing is, people have this kind of myth about if it's not Apple and it's not all linked together, it doesn't work. It's just a myth. And again, if that's your thing and you love your Apple products, more power to you. It's just not for me. And that it's just true for any business. If you constantly go sell, buy my stuff, you will switch people off, and if they're not your tribe, they're never going to buy from you anyway. They might take
like who you are. If they don't like your attitude, the way you talk, the way whatever, you're exactly right, Kat. That's really, really good point.
Actually, I've said that before, but if you turn people off, then it's not a bad thing either, because they're not your buyer, they're not your customer. So don't be afraid to do that. Step into your authentic voice,
Tracy, other ideas. I do want to let you know, and this has just been my experience. Instagram for me is where I do my kind of behind the scenes daily life, kind of thing, which is very useful for a lot of brands because it's about, my toddler got up 15 times already tonight and they've only been in bed an hour. Here's my glass of wine. It's just like the fun side of my life, whatever. I have built so many engaging relationships with people on Instagram because they comment, I comment back, I check them out. I see, they use Squarespace for web design too. I wonder how they do it. And you start talking and building a relationship. And then you have, a brand ambassador, so to speak. Yeah. So, that's the other thing that I do. And I solely started doing it because the clients that wanted me to do social media also wanted me to build websites. So I build Squarespace websites. And I met a girl on Instagram that that's what she does. So I started asking her, I'm a novice. This is what you do. Do you have trainings? Do you have I would love to connect with you and find out how you learned and if you can teach me some things that I don't know. And we've built this cool relationship. So it's really not so much about which platform. It's that, are you engaging on that platform? Because if I never responded to people who posted comments on my Instagram, then that would never happen. So it's really not about which platform is the best for building relationships. It's which platform are you on the most that you love engaging with and you engage back with your audience. Does that answer your question, Tracy? I hope it does.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Cara. I think as well, the whole relationship building, you're totally right. It's irrelevant to the platform. It's about you as a person engaging with the people who want to engage with you. And I think it's really interesting that you said you met somebody who's doing something similar to you, but you're not doing they're a competitor, I can't possibly share, my wisdom or education with them or anything. It's kind of like, we are the same, we are like-minded, right. Let's help one another. I think that's a really key part of I'm maybe going off topic here about productivity and everything, but I do think it's a really key part of how you do business now, especially across the internet. As you've mentioned, that's how we met, in a similar group, like-minded people, and it complements, but I don't think you should ever see others who do something similar to you as a problem. If you focus on the comparison and you focus on the competition, it'll break you down. You'll go slightly mad over a period of time.
There's enough for everyone. There's enough for everyone. And you don't know everything, especially in the internet and design and social media and whatever. The industry is constantly changing. Yeah. And there's always something to learn. And just because somebody knows something, I'm a novice at Squarespace, I do a really good job. I do a great job for my clients. I know more than the average person, obviously, which is why I feel comfortable selling that as something that I do. But I am not advanced expert, grand poobah level of Squarespace. So I love reaching out to people that know more than I do, because there's something that I might know that they don't about social media or whatever. It's building those relationships. Tracy, I wanted to follow up one last thing. You said Instagram is really popular right now. I'm totally going to do a plug, and I'm sorry, but I am going to do a plug because I just launched my totally free course, 7 Days to an Instagram Strategy, and I am going to put it in the comments. It's my latest blog right now. We'll tell you how to get it if you click there. And it is specifically designed for solopreneurs and brands and businesses that want to get started the right way. Instagram is notoriously difficult to gain followers quickly. You can't gain followers quickly unless you pay for them, which is a huge no-no. So it's 7 days. It's free. There is a VIP course that is all of $7, which is less than breakfast and coffee at Starbucks if you want tons of extra goodies. But it is a free course, and you get every day you get a small actionable, this is what you need to do today on Instagram to get you up and running the correct way. So that's the only plug I'll do today. But I did just launch it, and I'm really excited about it because it's the first course coaching that I've launched.
Can I ask, Cara? I mean, I obviously I know you're doing this. I haven't signed up for it, admittedly, because Instagram isn't a platform. I know, how dare you? Instagram isn't a platform I've used before. Right. So from that point of view, what you're offering over that is a 7 day thing you said, 7 day course? Is that something that I could even dive into and test, so to speak?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's 7 days because I didn't want to overwhelm people. Yeah. So you get an email every day for 7 days, and it's day one, how to set up your profile, how to do it correctly, how should you connect it, link it, your URL that you have in your profile, whatever.
Okay.
And paid followers. Joel. I'll get back to that in a second. So it is literally like you don't have to spend more than 20 minutes every day with his email doing whatever the next day is. So it's literally, and it goes far more into depth than just here's how to set up your profile. It goes into different engagement techniques. It goes into how do you create a visually compelling feed that looks pretty, that people want to follow. All of those things. How do you use hashtags properly? So it's 7 days to an Instagram strategy, because at the end of the 7 days, you'll have an actionable strategy to know how to use it for your business. So sign up, Kat. That would be.
Well, no,
I want your feedback.
Absolutely. And it was on my, Billy, you were saying earlier, all those threads in your head that you're trying to kind of just tighten up. That was one of those, but I thought I didn't want to do it just now when I've got other things kind of in the background. Bit of a plug for me, because I'm also building my first signature course. So yeah, coming soon to help solopreneurs. But yeah, exactly that. I thought I was focused on that for the time being. And I thought Instagram's not really where I'm at the moment. However, if it's really straightforward and it's 7 days and it's little bite-sized chunks, then I can choose when I can sign up for that, essentially. So that sounds good. Excellent.
Now you could, for people, so the VIP course, basically the difference is you get it all at once as a download, as an ebook. So if you wanted to spend, half a day diving in, doing the whole course and getting up to speed in 1 day, you could do that. So you get the whole thing at once, plus you get like 5, or I think it's 5. Yes, it is 5. I should know this.
Testing,
Yeah, like super extra goodie additional resources. So like I go into, here are the best hashtags for your niche. Here are the most engaging ones. Like just all these extra worksheets and goodies that you get if you pay all of $7 for the VIP course. So
as I would say, cheapest chips. That's pretty good.
Cheapest chips. Yep. But I also wanted to be able to offer it for free, because we're solopreneurs. We know what being on a budget is like, and having to watch your expenditures and what you're paying for, and all these monthly subscriptions for this app and that thing, and whatever. So if you're super hot to trot and you want all the extra goodies, you can pay $7. If you don't want to pay the $7, that's cool. I totally get it. You're still going to get what you need to know for free.
Sure.
So, do we have somebody jump in that we can?
I'm not on Instagram at all, but I am on Twitter. If you're looking for me, Tracy. I'm not on Instagram. That's not a platform. Oh, there's somebody that wants to come in.
Yeah. Fabrizio.
Yep. How are you doing?
Hi, we're great. How are you?
Good. So I'm interested to find out what this mind detective is. Well, mind detective. I've never heard that one before.
Yes, well, I have coined it as a phrase myself, Fabrizio. My background is intelligence and profiling. I used to work in the covert world. That's as much as I'm prepared to say. And now I use that profiling technique with solopreneurs. So instead of profiling bad people, I profile really nice solopreneurs. That's what I do.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so it's kind of trying to get, as I always call it, under the hood of what's holding solopreneurs back. It's like a lot of overwhelm.
So you're not using something like the Enneagram or something like that to profile people?
No, I use a different profiling tool. It's based on energies and frequencies and 8 profile types, so it's slightly different. So I chatted earlier, I don't know if you were in earlier on when I was talking about planning your week according to your energy frequencies as well. So it's quite it's a slightly different way of doing things. Still kind of same principles as traditional profiling methods, but just put forward in a different way to answer the so what next bit, because there's no point in having a label of a profile if you don't know where to go with it. So it kind of answered that next bit for entrepreneurs.
So are you in Scotland?
Can you tell?
Well, you never know these days. I mean,
this is true.
Yeah, here I am with an Italian name and a British accent. I could be anywhere in the world.
You're very confusing.
I could be in Jakarta for
Yeah. So have you got any questions for us?
No, I was just curious to find out what that was. So you're talking about productivity and social media.
Yeah. Yeah. They like
how long have you guys been on Blab?
When did I join? I drug Kat with me, kicking, screaming, saying, "Do this with me, Kat." Yeah. Several weeks, probably about 4 or 5 weeks now.
Okay, I've been on, I think 3 weeks or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
How are you finding it?
It's useful. I mean, I've got my own. I do 2 shows. One's called Aeroplane Talk, because I buy and sell aircraft. So I've been doing this. We did episode 3 today, and it looks like we may have picked up 1, maybe 2 clients. And we only had 7 people on the Blab. So you know, I'm never impressed with high numbers.
Right.
We just need 1.
Tell me what your business
is
again. Oh, got it.
We buy and sell aircraft.
Got it. Very
good. So airliners and private jets. Yeah.
Yeah. I will have my own private jet one day.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised how many individuals on Blab that are in that space. I'm discovering. Yeah. It's starting to become I mean, my business partner and I looked at Blab initially and we thought, is this going to help us or not? But then we saw that the way the technology is built here, this is very clever. This is the next big thing. And I think if they hold on to Blab 2 to 3 years, they could sell this company for $50 billion.
You know, Cara first, because early adopter, you know, getting in at the beginning and getting to know it, and it links so nicely with Twitter as well. They've got a few problems to iron out, a few technical things that we've experienced over the last fortnight.
Well, my Blab ended when it shouldn't have ended, so I had to restart a new one. Yeah. So I've got 2 Blabs. I've got to put them together now and post it on YouTube. So anyway, a bit more editing to do.
Yeah.
I've noticed that my Twitter following bumps every time I do a Blab. So it's nice.
I've got another 500 Twitter followers since I've been on Blab.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, as a consumer and a Blabber, what do you find compelling and interesting in Blabs? What makes you stay on a Blab?
Okay, well, when we started Tyra Swings 3 years ago, we sort of looked at social media. How could we get the word out there for the business? And one of the platforms we kind of went to was LinkedIn. So we went into, and I'm sort of telling the long story to then get to where we are today with social media and Blab and that. And so we went in LinkedIn, and you know, there's all these groups. You can become part of 50 different groups. So we started dialing in all the different ones that we thought would work. And then we saw there were other people in there that were talking about planes, that needed planes. And we started contacting people, having lots of conversations and lots of work going on, 14, 15 hours a day. But then after about 6 months, where we're 2 of us in the business working 14 hours a day, we hadn't made any money. So we thought, well, we're making all this noise. All these people are telling us they want to buy a plane, but then they haven't got any money. So why they asked? It's a minor detail. So so then we came to the conclusion that we were talking to the wrong people. So we then, because we were making a lot of noise, we then ended up doing some deals and making some decent money. We closed about $100 million worth of business after 8 months. The first deal came in and then it started rolling from there. But the first 8 months, nothing happened. We went through 350 deals, not one closed. So the question was, are we doing it wrong? No, we were doing the right things, but we were talking to the wrong people. And then we had to perfect our system and how we do things. Then I was blogging, but I was blogging in Blogger. And I was getting 1,000 people read the blog, 1,200 people, 1,500 people, sometimes 2,000 people. But I wasn't getting any interaction. You know, when people can comment and that, I was getting none of that. I think one had one comment on it and that's it. And we weren't getting any phone calls. We weren't getting any the only good thing about it, because it was in Blogger, you end up being high on the search engines in Google. So if you type some aviation words in, then my blog, which is called BizJet Way, would pop up on the front page of Google, which is fine because that helps.
Right.
Then I was on the internet doing some updating myself on social media and how to do things. And I came across a video on YouTube. This guy was talking about blogging within LinkedIn. So I thought, okay, well, this is called LinkedIn Pulse. So what I did is I took a couple of the blogs that I'd already done in Blogger and I just posted them in, added some video and a few things and blasted it out there. And I immediately started getting interaction, likes, phone calls, emails, deals happening.
Smart.
Yeah. And then I had Daily Telegraph rang me up from the UK. I was on the train going to London. I get this phone call from a journalist from the Daily Telegraph, which is one of the #1 newspapers in the UK. Right. He'd read a blog that I did about Tony Blair, which used to be the Prime Minister here, and he was flying on this Global Express private jet. So he asked me all about it and everything. We ended up having 4 conversations over the space of 2 days. And he did this massive article on a Sunday. And I was in this article talking about private jets and Tony Blair and whatnot. And then he came back to me again a few weeks later to ask me about it. And so I've been featured in this newspaper a number of times. Then I had Financial Times ring me up. They did a feature. WealthX rang me up. They did a feature. El Financiero, which is Financial Times in Mexico. Same situation. Chicago Tribune did an article last week on us.
Nice.
Bloomberg India did an article the previous week.
Now you're just showing off, Fabrizio.
Now you're just showing off.
It's all happening, all because I shifted my blogging into LinkedIn posts. Yeah. And I've had 2 billionaires ring me up on my cell phone because my number's at the bottom of the email of the blog. I'm very transparent. My email address is there, my phone number, and it's all happening. So, I mean, and so where does Blab come into this? Mm-hmm. For me, Blab, if I could explain Blab in 2 words, LinkedIn Live. Now, I know there's a lot of people going on Blab to socialize and meet new people just for socialization purposes, but there's a lot of good business people on here like yourselves, and obviously out to share a message, out to pick up new business, out to let people know they exist and all this kind of thing, and networking, all that kind of good stuff that we all do. And I find this really, really good. It gives me the opportunity, I mean, between phone calls and emails, to jump in here. I always come in 2 or 3 times a day, have a look at what's going on. And then when I see an interesting subject, I jump in and have a conversation.
So it's all about the subject.
Yeah.
But when you're in there and you're like, I've got 15 minutes to hang out.
Not only subject. I mean, there's a couple of people on. There's one guy called Tellman, and he does a show every day. And I'm on his show, not every day, but maybe 3 times a week. And he talks about business and about email marketing and different things. And he's a very clever guy. He's always got interesting subjects. Mm-hmm. And so I always participate there. There's a few other people that I've learned about and kind of know now after being on here 3 weeks. So it's a great platform. It's LinkedIn Live. I mean, now here we are. We're talking to each other. We're in 3 different locations around the world. We're talking about business. We're talking about social media, about Blab, how this can help our businesses grow. And we're all in different industries. Right. And that's another interesting thing. I sit here sometimes, and I sit on the side or at the top here, and I listen, and I watch, and I take notes, and I pick up. I mean, the CEO of Blab was on the other night as in UK time, afternoon your time in the US, depending where you are. And he was talking about how Blab started and what was going on behind the scenes, where they were looking at taking the company. And it was very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Because my goal is to sell a private jet to the owners of Blab.
Very nice. And, I think it goes back to, I love how you laid out your process of figuring out what worked for you. Yeah. Because when I talk with business owners about their social media strategy, they talk about, well, what do I need to be doing on all these different platforms? And I go, wait. Is your target client on those platforms? Who are you talking to? And what do you want to be saying? And are those the people that you're trying to reach? A lot of times what I end up doing with business owners is they're on 5 or 6 social media networks. They're posting the same stuff everywhere. They're not making it specific to the platform, and they're getting no traction. And I have to pull them way back and say, let's look at the 1 or 2 platforms that make the most sense for your business and your target audience, and do those really, really well before we even talk about anything else. And it's sometimes a different perspective than what I hear some social media people say, where they want to lay out how to do everything for every business. And it's like, you really gotta, it all kind of goes back to who your target audience is and who your target client is.
Because there's so many platforms. I mean, for example, I haven't done much on Instagram. I did a little bit on Facebook, but LinkedIn seems to be the main one for us. Now I do this podcast. I do the airplane podcast, and then I do another one about business. And we publish that on YouTube and on Podomatic. And that serves 2 purposes. One, I have certain guests that come on that are high profile business people, or authors. And then I also target people that can lead me to clients in the airplane space. So I've got a bit of a mix on there, but that's helped me open doors. It's been very useful. And we've just shifted it to YouTube 3 weeks ago. And we've had one of the videos has got 2,500 hits already. So because we kind of lacked any video stuff, which is why I'm doing airplane talk now on Blab, because that's recorded, then it's edited and it's put on YouTube. So now we're building a Tyrus Wings YouTube channel, as well as another channel which I have called Living Outside the Queue, which is to do with the books I've written and some of the keynote speaking that I do. But that's kind of 20% of my time. 80% of my time is focused on airplanes. Sure.
No, sorry, Kat, say again.
No, I was just saying thanks for sharing that, because it's really interesting. It's back to what we were talking about, vanity measures and big numbers. What a waste of time.
Big numbers are a waste of time. You said it, Kat.
Yeah, I mean, it's a vanity measure. It's more about those relationships. It's back to, like, you know, if you're selling a house, you only need one buyer. You know.
You say that. You say that. It's very interesting, because it was about 10 years ago. I was offered a job to fly for an airline down in London. We were up near Manchester, and I went for the interview. They gave me a contract. No one knew that we were going to be moving. And then one day, friends of ours popped by because they were looking for a house in our area, and I was flying. And I get off the plane. I ring my wife to say I'm landed, and she says, "Oh, by the way, I sold the house today." The next day, the estate agent was supposed to come round to evaluate the house. My wife had sold it, because what happened, these friends came around. They wanted to have a look at the house to see how ours compared to other houses they'd seen in the area. And my wife said, "Well, actually, we're moving. We're going to put the house on the market in the next few days. Oh, we'd like to buy it." And they negotiated a little bit, came up with a figure which worked. Deal was done.
Yeah.
So you only need one. You only need one.
There can be only one Highlander.
There can be only one. Well, and that goes back to the importance of engaging authentically. I'm starting to get tired of people using the word authentically all the time, but it really is true. It really is.
Here's another one then. How about communicating in a way that you become the trusted authority?
There you go. That's a good one. But it's more than that. It's building brand ambassadors and brand affinity, because it's not about, am I selling my products to Kat? It's about Kat and I trust each other. We work well together. We're totally on the same page. And the next time she runs into somebody that says, I really need help with social media, she's going to say, I got the person for you. It's not, and it's about Kat and I building that relationship in a small setting, or, you know, whatever. Not about how many Twitter followers do I have, and is one of those people going to see my tweet and buy from me? I mean, yeah. So, and we got actually a really interesting question from Chris, asking if we focus on local business or just the web. And after I answer, Fabrizio, I'm interested in what you have to say about it as well, because your industry is so different.
I'm based in the UK, and I've never, ever sold a plane to someone in the UK.
Interesting.
So, interesting. In fact, initially we had our company in the UK, then we shut it down because it was pointless having a company here if we're not doing any business here. So we're now offshore. And so there we are offshore, and every deal we've done has been offshore. And I don't envision anything really happening here in the UK. In fact, I'm probably moving to Canada. I am moving to Canada in a few months' time. So, so we've just picked a location that we like. Because at the end of the day, this business, and because of the internet, many businesses can be run through a computer and a phone. You don't need to have a fancy office. Some of my competitors have fancy offices. But you know what? If any of you are watching or listening and want to buy a jet, and you go to one of those guys with a fancy office, you're paying for their office, by the way. So that doesn't mean that I'm cheaper than the others, okay? just to let you know.
I love it. So I will say one of the biggest benefits, or what's the word I'm looking for? One of the biggest shifts in my business was when I actually joined my local chamber of commerce. I don't know if you two have.
Where are you based?
I'm in Portland, Oregon, Pacific Northwest.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So the Chamber of Commerce is all about local small business and local small business supporting each other. Okay. So realizing that my target is small businesses that don't have the time to figure out social media, but need to be using it effectively.
Yep.
I realized, well, I'm building all these wonderful business collaborations on social media and the internet, but I'm not finding the kind of clients that I want to work with particularly. Yes. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I had clients immediately.
Well, yeah, because what you're doing, I mean, I interviewed a lady called, you probably know Kim Reynolds.
I know the name.
She's a big social media expert. I interviewed her last year, and she was saying, if your business isn't on social media, you will soon not have a business.
Yes.
So you're right. There's a lot of people like 50, 60 years old. They've had a business all their lives. Suddenly social media comes along and they haven't got a clue.
Yep.
And they think, oh, that's just for kids.
Big mistake. It doesn't mean you need to be on Snapchat. Snapchat might not be right for your business, or it could do some really fun, cool things for your business. Again, going back to target audience.
Yes.
But you do have to be in the game.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. Just what you were saying, Cara, about joining the Chamber of Commerce for kind of local business. I think we chatted about that before. I haven't done that purely because I hate networking with, like, in real life. I've said that, I need a drink after it.
Where are you based where are you based up in Scotland?
Just outside Glasgow. So there's lots happening in Glasgow. However, what's really interesting, using Twitter over the last probably month, I've had more local business from Twitter. I had 2 meetings through in Edinburgh the other day. For people who'd followed me on Twitter, just trying to kind of work it. And they were for quite large organisations, charities actually, which wasn't really a niche that I was particularly targeting, but actually it fits really well after having a conversation with them. So Twitter can work both on that kind of global platform, but also locally too. And I've been to a couple of local networking events. I got somebody to kind of, again, drag me there kicking and screaming, and it was fine. I survived. But yeah, Twitter can be used in so many ways, but it's back to what we say. It's the relationship building. There's no point in thinking, oh, I've got another 500 followers if you're not having a conversation with any of them. Just have a conversation, just a couple of back and forwards, and you get to find out from people. And I think this is what's great about Blab is then you can follow those people and see them in person. And find out if they resonate with you or they're your type of person, and jump in and out of chats and lurk for a while, as you were saying, Fabrizio, lurk for a wee bit in there, watch what's happening, listen to the conversation, and then, stick your hand up, I want to ask a question, or jump in. And I think that's a great way of doing things now, and you're totally right. If we don't do it that way, you're not going to have a business.
Yeah, and you learn from other businesses as well, and learn to see what they've tried, what works for them. And I think this is it's a great thing to share. I mean, this is a bit of a mastermind what we're doing right now. I mean, we're all sharing experiences, but we're in different parts of the world, different businesses. And I'm learning from you, you're learning from me, and it's great, because if I just to hang out with some aviation people all the time, and unfortunately, well, unfortunate for them, fortunate for me, most of them haven't got a clue how social media works. So which is why I'm the only aviation show on Blab at the moment, until somebody else finds out about it. But I mean, again, it works for me. I mean, I've got some of my competitors, or colleagues as we kind of call them, they spend a lot of money flying to the other side of the world. This happened to one guy I know. He flew all the way to New York to take this guy out for lunch, because apparently he was going to buy a 757 VIP. And then it turns out halfway through the lunch that it's not him that needs to buy the plane, it's a friend of a friend. So this guy turns around and said, well, what do you do then? Oh, me? I'm a taxi driver.
Oh, get the decision maker in the room. Get the decision maker.
So I'm like, so you flew all the way around the world to New York, hotels, airfare, nice restaurant, etc., which obviously he paid for, to take a taxi driver out for lunch?
Just a nightmare.
I mean, didn't you qualify this guy before you even got on a plane?
Oh.
That's what I do. I mean, when someone comes to us, this is what we do. And we didn't in the beginning, okay? They come to us because I still haven't figured out why people were coming to us, and even other people in the industry come to you and say, I want to buy a jet, and they haven't got any money. I just I just don't know why people do that.
What's the first question you ask? What's the first question you ask? I'm curious.
Well, first thing I do is I don't ask them a question. I direct them to my website where there's a form, and I ask them to fill the form in. Then the form comes to, the form asks you what do you need the airplane for, where you're going to be flying to, what's your budget, that kind of thing. So it gives me a picture of what these people need. Then Jeff and I, as my business partner, go through the form. We have a chat about it. We then send them out an email, and we schedule a Skype video conference. Okay. On there, we go through the form and we go more into detail. Mm-hmm. Then the next step is proof of funds from a reputable bank, not Bank of Guatemala or Congo or whatever. No, from a reputable bank, saying that you've got $200 million or whatever it is in your bank account to buy an airplane. Right. Step 1. Step 2, open an escrow account and deposit $1 million if you're buying one airplane, $2 million if you're buying 2 airplanes. Okay. Now that you've done that, now I know you're serious. Now we can get down to finding what you need. And if you don't do those 2 things, well, then, but other people, go to the other people then. We haven't got time.
Right. Yeah. I was having a conversation, obviously, that level of figuring out if they're your client, it's different for me because mine isn't so much tied to, that kind of money. But I was talking with somebody and they were talking about why my prices were what they were. And I'm not the top of the scale, but I have a whole boatload of experience to back up why I charge what I charge. Okay. And I was explaining to them that, my client is not the person that I have to, that they need to be using social media. Mm-hmm. If I have to convince somebody that they need to be on social media, they're so not even at the level of realizing what they need to be paying me for. If there's somebody that realizes, you know what, I'm an entrepreneur, I know how to run business, I know that I'm missing the boat and I need to invest in somebody that's going to do it the right way or teach me how to do it the right way. And I get it. I just need to make it happen. That's my client. And if my prices are something that scares you or like, oh my gosh, whatever, that's fine. That's fine. That just means you're not my client and there's somebody else out there for you. I had somebody a couple of years ago that said, well, why should I pay you this if I can get my son's boyfriend's cousin to post on Facebook for me? And it was like, go for it. Go for it.
Someone wants to buy someone a coffee here.
How about I buy you a coffee so I can pick 2 brains?
Oh my God.
Whose brains do they need to pick out of the 3 of us?
Oh my, no. The whole let me take you out for coffee so I can get free advice, free whatever.
Well, I'm up for going for lunch, okay? But it's the Savoy in London. You're paying the bill, okay? And I'm charging you $5,000 an hour for my time. Is that okay?
I get it all the time from coaching people. We haven't spoken a while. Let's meet up and see how you're doing. I'm like, I'm doing fine. What are we talking about? And then you turn up and you get this bombarded with, how did I do this? What did I do this? And
freebie.
So that is another reason why I love Blab, because I love being able to talk about social media and I don't mind giving people tips and tricks and tidbits and whatever, but I don't have to fit it into my schedule, meeting them for coffee. And then it's, do you buy coffee? Do I buy coffee? I'm just going to buy my own coffee. I'm just, whatever, and wasting all that time. I'm on Blab once a week. I'm talking about social media. I'm here with Kat. Ask me what you want to know. And there's a time limit. And if it's much more of a business platform than it is. We know each other kind of personally, and I'd love to meet for coffee and hang out with you, but I really want to pick your brain.
No, it's a good way of getting value out for free to a lot of people, and then they can ask you whatever they want. Then you're in control of it, because I'm looking at the time as well. We're in control of, when we normally kind of schedule our blabs and how long we want to be on here for. Yeah. And that, I think that's better than going out with one person that, you're going to be sitting taking coffee for. And a bit like that, who gets the receipt for the accountant? It's that kind of, this is what stresses me out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how did you 2 meet? Being one in Oregon and one in Glasgow?
Through a Facebook group.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're both in a Facebook group that is for solopreneurs. And it's basically a group that's all about kind of supporting each other as solopreneurs. People ask questions. People, once a week, everybody gets to post their blog as long as you share other people's blogs, you know, kind of a thing. And it's a very tight-knit group. It's not one of those group where there's, you know, 50,000 people and everybody posts their blog all the time and nobody interacts and there's no give, get. It's a very tight-knit group. So
it's because the rules are really tight in terms of, you know, you give more than you take or you will be unceremoniously booted out of the group. And it's about trying to, you know, it's the old rising tide floats many boats. So it's helping one another rather than, oh, it's all about me and take. So it's a great place. And we just kind of resonated with one another.
Someone's just asked, is it an open group?
It's not. It's free to join. It's, you know, whatever. But it is, hold on. I'm typing the name of it.
Well, that's why, I mean, this whole social media game is about sharing. Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about. You share information with people and just put the information out there. And then hopefully somebody will come to you and value your information, value you. I mean, I had a call with a guy yesterday and he wants me to do some consulting for some airports down in the Middle East. And he's been reading my stuff on LinkedIn and I've written over 120 articles on there. And he said, oh, I can see you know a lot. You've got a lot of expertise, blah, blah, blah. And then anyway, we ended up having a really good conversation and he asked me about helping him out with these projects. And then I felt I needed to help him with something. So I introduced him to somebody in Abu Dhabi and they had a meeting this afternoon. Yeah. So that all happened very quickly. But again, I haven't got anything out of it. I've connected into someone that's very well in the aviation market in Abu Dhabi and with a very, very wealthy family from Abu Dhabi that can open a tremendous amount of doors for this guy. But I mean, I checked him out obviously before I made that connection happen. I knew the guy was sound and everything, but I was happy to do that. And whether I get anything in return, I don't know. But I know that if you put good stuff out there, it will come back.
Somehow that will come back around.
And actually, you have got something out of it because it's that trust thing that you're talking about. You know, when somebody's chatting to somebody else about who's the best person to go to and who do we trust to go to, then it's your name that will pop up because you're not kind of promoting I want something back from this. I think that's where people get it so wrong. Be the helper. Yeah. Be the helper. Always think, what can I give first before I take? Yeah. And that's how we do business now. And if you're not doing business that way, then you're not going to get very far. I'm just laughing at my screen getting slowly darker here.
Okay. Yeah. Same here. It's dark here as well.
Because I'm sitting in Scotland and
I'm further south. I'm near Manchester, so
well, up here the nights are fair drawing in already. So it's a bit darker.
Another thing which I'd like to sort of touch on, which I think is important as we go out there investigating this whole social media world, is we really need to be ourselves. Because a lot of people out there, and I think this is a bit of a problem with society today, in particular with personal development, self-help, this success philosophy that's out there. It's almost like they're trying to sell becoming a millionaire to anybody out there.
I know,
but not everybody is designed to making millions online or becoming the next Donald Trump or whatever. That's not for everybody. So, I mean, we were talking on Tellman's show yesterday. This guy popped in. And he's trying to sell these products. It's quite funny, actually. Well, funny, sad, because he was selling a product which wasn't his that taught you how to sell online. And he came into the Blab to find out how to sell online. So I thought, excuse me a minute. So you've come here telling us you sell a product which teaches you to sell online, and you've come here to ask us how you can sell more of it. It doesn't make sense.
Like a bad comedy skit, like.
Yeah. But so I said to the guy, I said, listen, you know what? You're trying to be somebody else. You're trying to be someone you're not designed to be. So this is what I suggest you do. Go back and think what you liked before you were 10 years old. Okay. Because that's usually where your passions lie. And you know more about this, Kat, than I do with your mind sort of thing and that you do. Finding out what your purpose is, why you came to Earth, what's your mission within the mission, kind of thing. What were you designed to do? What talents were you given by God? All this kind of thing. People need to figure this out. But
I can help you with that.
Too often people are comparing themselves to and this starts back in school. they give everybody grades. And so you're immediately taught to compare yourself to the guy or the girl sitting next to you. And then as you move into university and you go off into the workforce, there's all this comparing all the time. Oh, look, my neighbor's got a new Mercedes. Oh, I better get one too. Oh, my friend's got a new iPhone. I better get one too. Now, wait a minute. What about you? What are you designed to do?
Right.
Think about you. So I said to this guy, I said, find out what your passion is, brand yourself around your passion, around your expertise, and you will find you'll go out there with something unique, and there will be people out there that want what you've got.
Right. Right.
If you keep spending your day trying to be somebody else, guess what? You're out of sync.
Yes.
You're not going to get anywhere.
Yes. You know, it's interesting you should say that, because I'm kind of going through a shift in my business right now, because when I first started with social media, for the first 3 years I did social media, I did it for a brand, a business, a band, and it was always for somebody. And so when I first started my own business several months ago, I kind of thought, well, that's what I'm going to do, is I'm going to be on a retainer basis. I'm going to do it for clients, you know, coming up with their strategy and their content and whatever. And I realized just a couple months ago, you know what? I am so much more passionate about teaching people how to do social media for their business than I am about writing tweets for them.
Yeah.
I can write tweets for people all day long. Do I love doing it? No. They are going to connect with their clients on a very different level than I am. And really what drives me and what I'm passionate about is the teaching and empowering other people. And it just happens that I love doing social media and I'm really good at it. And
you're right. I think you're spot on there, because a lot of people think, oh, I'll hire a social media manager. They'll take care of it. They'll blog for me. They'll do LinkedIn. No, you have got to be out there. You need to hire someone that can teach you how to do this stuff, teach you what are the 3-4 platforms that are going to work for your business, and then teach you how to use them. And then you have to go there and do it. You've got to be on Blab. You can't have your assistant on Blab for you.
Exactly. And I love when the light bulb goes off and they're like, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm not intimidated by Instagram anymore. You know, whatever it is.
You see this?
What is that? Born to Fly.
Yeah. Guess who wrote it?
You.
That was
okay. Now, I wrote this published a few months ago.
Yeah.
Now, this is a book which is very short to read. It's a quick read. Okay. I'm not telling you this story to try and sell my book. I want to let's focus on the story here. Okay. Because I think stories teach us a lot. Now, this is a story about a young man in his 20s. Comes back from doing a noble thing for 2 years. He served a mission for his church, comes back to Los Angeles and doesn't know what to do in life. He hasn't found his passion. He hasn't found his mission in life. So his mother says, well, why don't you go to work with your rich uncle for the day? He's got a lot of businesses. He may be able to give you an idea. So their uncle swings by, picks him up, takes him to his flight school for the day, which is one of the businesses he has. And during this day, this young Mark meets a number of people that are learning to fly, and they're all learning to fly for a different reason. Now, the reason why I call it Born to Fly, not because I'm a pilot and I want everybody to become pilots, okay? It's we all need to learn to fly in life. What does that mean? That doesn't mean that we have to learn to make millions, okay, or become super successful and the next Hollywood star or stuff like that. No, you need to find out what you were designed to do, figure that out, then have a success system that's going to work. And someone was mentioning before, never take financial advice from your broke friends. Exactly. And when I give talks in companies, and I was called up by Lancaster University, which, Kat, you may know, Lancaster University is one of they say it's the top business school in the UK. And I went to give a lecture to the students before Christmas. And I said to them, I said, look, guys, beware of 2 types of dream stealers. Number 1, those that tell you can't succeed. And they're easy to spot. Okay. But the dangerous ones are the ones that love you. Okay. They are the ones, your family, your friends, and they will try and convince you that you shouldn't set up that company. You shouldn't go for that degree. You shouldn't do that job. You shouldn't risk that. You shouldn't do that. But at the end of the day, how many of these people giving you advice have actually been successful? None, probably none. So I'm not saying you've got to move to the other side of the world, but you've got to try and stop these people. And I give the story of my English grandmother. I have an Italian grandmother and an English grandmother. And my English grandmother, very nice lady. My father had a very successful career in hairdressing. He was one of Vidal Sassoon's top people. And so because of this, my grandmother said to me, you should follow in your father's footsteps. And I said, yes, Nan, I can understand that. But you know what? I have absolutely no interest in cutting people's hair. I want to fly airplanes.
Yeah.
So, but she went on and on and on. Now, don't you think she loved me? Why was she saying that? She was trying to avoid the pain. She said, there are no aviators in our family. Where are you going to go? Oh, I'll figure it out. And it wasn't easy because I didn't have the money. So I had to go out and make the money.
Right.
And in my college course, everyone tried to get in the Air Force to try to get sponsorships. Nearly everybody failed. And then those that failed turned around and said, well, I can't do it on my own because I don't have the money. So therefore, I'll have to go off and do something else in life. Well, I asked myself a different question. I said, well, I don't have the money. How can I find the money?
Right.
And because I asked a different question, I got a different answer.
Yep. No, it's totally true. It's a great story. Thank you for sharing that.
So people have to stop being other people.
Yep.
Try and find out who they really are. And then look at social media. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Try and find out what will work for you and use people like you guys to help teach the different platforms and educate them.
Totally true. Fabrizio, thank you. Thank you so much for jumping in. And it's been so fun to talk to you. So I am definitely going to tune into what you're doing because that's fun. It's good to talk to you. Kat and I both have to jet. I actually have a Chamber of Commerce meeting to go to.
Good. Let's hope you meet new good people.
Yes. So I'm going to leave my website for people that just joined or didn't see it. I blog every week, and it's usually about, you can definitely see my personality in my blog. Kat and I have very similar backgrounds with what we used to do. So that's one of the reasons we dive so well. So thank you, Fabrizio. We will make sure to catch you soon. And Kat and I are doing this every Thursday at 9:30 a.m.
Yep.
So I'll set up the next one. Kat, thank you, everybody, for joining us. We enjoyed
thank you.
blabbing.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Have a good day.